What's up, everybody? Well, we're entering the holiday season this year, and I know this year has been rough, and we don't know what the holidays will look like this year, but we know that it will be different. With that said, normally the holidays are synonymous with generosity. The holiday spirit usually brings out a spirit of generosity with people. And as we enter the holidays this year, we're all just trying to make it. And even though this year is going to look different, I want to challenge you not to lose your generous spirit. And if you're not normally generous, I want to challenge you to start. Because Proverbs 11:25 says, "The generous will prosper. Those who refresh others will themselves be refreshed." God has promised to bless the generous person to prosper. Generous people shall be greatly enriched with both temporal and spiritual blessings. The temporal blessings are just that, they're temporary, meaning those things that you get here on earth, whether it's money or material things or a good job. All those things are temporary because you can't take it with you when you die, unlike spiritual blessings that are eternal. When you are generous and give freely, you will always prosper. When you are a blessing to others, no doubt about it, you will be blessed. Other translations say the generous person will be made rich. Yeah, don't we all want to be made rich? But let me ask you a question. What does rich mean to you? Because if you have some level of maturity, you know that rich is not always monetary. It's not always money. You can be rich in other ways. Rich in this context means abundance, full, overflowing. Meaning, when you're generous, you will have an abundance of something. One thing that I see every now and then that I don't agree with is some people don't know how to take gifts from people. Some people don't know how to receive other people's generosity. I'm talking free gifts, no strings attached, good old wholesome generosity. Some people don't like to take it. They're like, no, oh no, I can't take that. Or they feel bad and they say, I can't take that gift. I hate that because they think that they're doing it out of some good conscience. But this is what they don't realize. It's not about you. When you refuse to take something from somebody that's trying to be generous, you're messing up their blessing. The Bible just told you that the generous person will prosper. Just take the gift and shut up. It's not about you, boo. I know you think you're doing it out of some good conscience, but what you're really doing is blocking the flow. Generosity has a flow. The Bible says, give and it shall be given unto you. That's a flow. You reap what you sow. That's a flow. That's reciprocity. When you refuse to take someone's gift, you mess up the flow. I tell you what, if you don't want it, give it to me, I'll take it. But when I finally realized this, I don't turn down nothing. I don't turn it down because I know that they're going to get blessed. Then it says, those who refresh others will themselves be refreshed. Those who refresh others is just another way of saying those who bless others. However, when you refresh others, to me, now this is how I personally look at this. I believe when you refresh others, it's just a little more than throwing money at them. I believe when you refresh others, you give for a different reason. You give because you care about them. You give because your heart is toward that person. You give because in a world where people are struggling, they just need to be refreshed. When you refresh others, you're not just being generous with your money. You're being generous with your time. When you refresh others, you're being generous with your resources. When you refresh others, you're being generous with your wisdom. When you refresh others, you're being generous with your skills and abilities. The people that you're around every day, those close relationships, family relationships, when you refresh those people, you're being generous with your encouragement. You're being generous with your sympathy and empathy. When you refresh those people, you're being generous with your presence. Because for the people that you love, the best gift that you could give them is the gift of you. You. Just be there. Just be present. Let me ask you, do you refresh others? Do you get refreshed? Because if you don't get refreshed, then maybe you should ask yourself, am I refreshing others? This verse says, those who refresh others will themselves be refreshed. I know you're probably saying, well, I refresh my husband, but he don't refresh me back. Or maybe you're saying, I paid my tithes and gave money to that church for 2 months and I'm still not getting blessed. Or maybe you're saying, I'm always the one going down there to help out, but don't nobody ever help me. But here's the thing. When you give you might not always get the same thing back. And you might not always get it back from the same person that you gave it to. If you are generous, you're going to prosper. And if you refresh others, you will be refreshed. Stop worrying about getting it back from the same person the same exact way you gave it. And here's the other thing, and this is the most important point. God knows what you need. God knows how to make the blessing come back to you. If don't nobody else refresh you, He will. Maybe you don't need money. Maybe you need peace. Maybe you need good health. Maybe you need to be rich in relationships. You see, He can send you somebody that's there to help you and change your whole life. Listen, we can sum it all up with this. Jesus said that it is more blessed to give than to receive. Basically, that means you can never lose if you just be generous. Plus, being generous makes you feel good. I can tell you this from my own personal experience. There's no greater feeling than to give to somebody and just watch the look on their face. It's priceless. They look like somebody that just got refreshed. Don't you want to do that for people? But it just doesn't stop there. Because this verse says, when you're generous, you will prosper. And then when you refresh others, you will be refreshed.